Well, hello, everybody. Welcome to Mondays with Mark, live from Houston, Texas, in my bedroom slash office slash studio. And I'm so glad you're here. I was sitting here watching the opening. I'm seeing all you talking. There's somebody, I think her name was Aiden from Cape Town, South Africa. You're already tuned in. Hello, Shirley Blazer, David Lane, Elizabeth Dillon, Mary Warner, Matthew Goodrow, Darcy Ann 66, Chris Ladd, Paula Shepard, Michelle Williams, Jenny Montgomery, all of you tuning in. Hello, hello, hello. Please make sure you're subscribed. Hit subscribe right down. Wait, it's over there, isn't it? Right down over there, subscribe. And share this. Please share it on Facebook. Share it on your Instagram. Oh, I think you can share it on Instagram. Share it wherever you can share it. Share it. That's how we get the word out and start building the audience. So Mondays with Mark will continue and get bigger and bigger and bigger, and that way we can reach the world and never leave the house. No, I love leaving the house. I had an incredible lunch today. Hello, Lorraine Mahan. I hope you're watching. Lorraine Mahan is a friend of mine from way back in the Liberty days, and she's in Houston right now. She has cancer. She has some type of blood cancer, and it's very, very rare. So if you will remember Lorraine Mahan in your prayers. And she said something to me today. She said, I am so thankful that I got cancer. She said, because it has been a journey of learning to trust my Father. She said, every day I just wake up and say, okay, Father, what are we going to do today? Because she's having to really live by faith, because she came to Houston, had nowhere to stay. She's staying in different places. I didn't find out she was here till just the other day, because she forgot I lived here. I mean, we're talking about, we were friends 40 years ago. And when I say friends, well, I think we were good friends, but I would sing in their church in Maryland. And she was so funny. She still is, laughs. And I was reading before I got on here tonight. I was reading because I thought, oh Lord, here comes the Mondays, and I haven't read my Bible like I should have. You know how you try to catch up with God when you're about to take a test? Do you ever do that? Well, I do. As Jesus, this is John 9, I love this. As Jesus was walking along, he saw a man who had been blind from birth. Rabbi, his disciples. First of all, Jesus saw him, but then the disciples have the question, Rabbi, why was this man born blind? Was it because of his own sins or his parents' sins? Isn't that funny? How we're always looking for some sort of sin or some reason to why this had. But Jesus said it was not because of his sins or his parents' sins. I love what Jesus says next. This happened so the power of God could be seen in him. Have you ever thought that maybe the thing you've begged God to remove from your life, this cancer or whatever it may be, spouse. No, I mean, well, that could be. They're abusive and all. Maybe they're there so the glory of God. That doesn't make any sense. But it does make sense that he was blind, Jesus said, so that the glory of God could be revealed in him. And then if you read on, Jesus then makes a mud pie and sticks it in his eyes. It says here in verse 6, then he spit on the ground, made mud with saliva, and spread the mud over the blind man's eyes. And don't you know that hurt? Have you ever had mud in your eye? And then he said, go wash yourself in the pool of Siloam, which Sonia Isaacs pointed out to me that that's not even the closest pool. Jesus didn't pick a pool close by. It was far away. So the man went because he knew, as Sonia Isaacs points out so brilliantly in that song she wrote with whoever, Jimmy Urey, and I don't know who else she wrote it with, called Waiting in the Water. If you haven't heard it, you need to go hear it, Waiting in the Water. So the man, go to the pool and wash yourself in Siloam. So the man went and washed and came back seeing, all right? His neighbors and others who knew him as a blind beggar asked each other, isn't that the man who used to sit and beg? Some said he was, and some others said, no, he just looks like him. But the beggar kept saying, "Yep, yes, I'm the same one." And they asked, "Who healed you? What happened?" He told them, "The man they called Jesus made mud and spread it over my eyes and told me, 'Go to the pool of Siloam and wash yourself.' So I went and washed, and now I can see." "Where is he now?" they asked. "I don't know. I barely got a glimpse of him." No, it doesn't say that, but he says, "I don't know." But he didn't see Jesus, right? He's blind. Had never caught a glimpse of Jesus. He said, "I don't know," he replied. Then they took the blind man, took the man who had been blind to the Pharisees. Now, these are the deacons of the day. And the deacons, because it was on the Sabbath that Jesus had made the mud and healed him, the deacons or the Pharisees asked the man all about it. So he told them, "He put the mud over my eyes, and when I washed it away, I could see." Some of the Pharisees said, "This man Jesus is not from God, for he is working on the Sabbath." Others said, "But how could an ordinary sinner do such miraculous signs?" So there was a deep division amongst the deacons. And so then the deacons again questioned the man who had been blind and demanded, "What's your opinion about this man? Who healed you?" The man replied, "Well, I think he must be a prophet." See, he didn't even know Jesus as Savior yet. Jesus will pass out healings and gifts to people that don't even belong to him. He is so generous that way. The Jewish leaders still refused to believe the man had been blind and could now see. So, y'all, I know this is a weird way to start the show, but I'm doing it anyway. The Jewish leaders still refused to believe the man had been blind and could now see, so they called in his parents. I love this story. They asked them, "Is this your son? Was he born blind? If so, how can he see?" And his parents replied, "We know this is our son, and he was born blind, but we don't know how he can see or who healed him. Ask him. He's old enough to speak for himself." His parents said this because they were afraid the deacons who had announced that anyone saying Jesus was the Messiah would be expelled from church, the synagogue. That's why they said, "He's old enough, ask him." They were scared. So for the second time, they called in the man who had been blind and told him, "God should get the glory for this because we know this man Jesus is a sinner." And the blind man said, "I don't know if he's a sinner." The man replied, "I know this. I was blind and now I can see." And I heard someone say one time, a person with an experience is never at the mercy of a person with an argument. And he was blind, now you can see. He said, "I don't know if he's a sinner or not. All I know is I ain't stumbling over things anymore." "But what did he do?" they asked. "How did he heal you?" "Look," the man exclaimed, "I told you once. Didn't you listen? Why do you want to hear it again?" And then he asked them this, "Do you want to become his disciples too?" And with that, they cursed him and said, "You are his disciple, but we are disciples of Moses. We know God spoke to Moses, but we don't even know where this man comes from." "Why, that's very strange," the man replied. "He healed my eyes, and yet you don't know where he comes from. We know that God doesn't listen to sinners, but he is ready to hear those who worship him and do his will." This guy was preaching to the deacons. "Ever since the world began, no one has been able to open the eyes of someone born blind. If this man were not from God, he couldn't have done it." "You were born a total sinner," they answered. "Are you trying to teach us?" And they threw him out of church. The synagogue, it says here. But in our day, for us, it would be church. Because that's the only people who throw us out, I guess. And listen to this. I love this next verse. When Jesus heard what had happened, when Jesus heard they had thrown him out, he found the man and asked. First of all, the thing that jumped out at me is sometimes you got to get kicked out before Jesus will show up. Have you been kicked out of church? Have you been felt ostracized from church? Have you felt shunned from church because you're not good enough? Well, listen to this. Jesus heard what had happened, and he found the man, and he said, "Do you believe in the Son of Man?" The man answered, "Who is he, sir? I want to believe in him." You've seen him, Jesus said, and he is speaking to you. Yes, Lord, I believe. And the man worshiped Jesus. Isn't that cool? If he hadn't been kicked out, Jesus might not ever have shown up. And how cool is it to have been led to Jesus by Jesus? I love that story. Hey, listen, guys. Guy Penrod's here tonight, and I didn't mean to get off on all that, but I was reading that again. I love that. I get stuck on chapters and just can't get away. Hey, Paula Shepherd. Hey, bless everyone. Brother Jay's on here. Yes, yes. I don't know what they're talking. Yeah, I didn't throw me out, and they didn't throw me out. I left. Oh, don't leave. Don't throw the baby out with the bathwater. There's still some good people there that love Jesus. You know, Jesus had let the wheat and the chaff grow up together, so they're all in there. But still, it's good to be in a community. All right, listen. Here's several things I want to tell you about. Lifeway Christian Store is selling What's Not to Love. You know, my new Dove Award winning CD. Well, anyway, they're selling it and they've got a very good special, $7 and something. So do me a favor. If you live near a Lifeway Christian bookstore, go in there and purchase one for a friend or for yourself if you don't have one. And thank them for selling my CD. I really do appreciate them doing that. Let's see. And the Russ Taff movie is coming out tomorrow night, 7 p.m. Please go to Russ Taff movie. Where is it? I have all this ready before I go live and then I can't find it. Where is it? Oh, man. Anyway, Russ Taff movie. Here, I'll just show you this. Here we go. Right here we go.
Shame is a prison. I was locked up in shame's prison for over 40 years. Behind its bars, I was safe, isolated, and hiding from pain. Disconnected from my family and everyone I ever loved. Abused as a child, shame told me that it was my fault. Singing for Jesus and living a secret life as an alcoholic. Shame whispered, there is no hope. But prison doors were made to be opened. Captives can be set free. I learned the gospel was greater than I could have possibly imagined. I am a child of the King. I am broken. I'm an alcoholic. I'm forgiven. I'm Russ Taff, and I still believe. I believe.
Tomorrow night, I will be in Franklin, Tennessee at the Franklin Theater with Russ and Tori and a bunch of friends. And I think it's sold out. But please find a theater near you. Go to russtaffmovie.com. Let me put that down so you can see me better. russtaffmovie.com, and you can find out where a theater is playing near you. You just type in your zip code and it tells you where it's playing near you. If you go over to marklowry.com right now, you can get the Dogs Go to Heaven t-shirt and God is Crazy About You t-shirt for just $10. They're my two favorite t-shirts that I have ever sold. So you just go to marklowry.com/store and you'll find those over there. And also you will find for $8 the Mark Lowry bobblehead. You know, we got to do this now. Start taking your pictures of Where's Mark? And put your bobblehead in some unusual places. Take a picture and post it in the comments on any one of these Mondays with Mark. And we're going to go through, pull those off, and I'll show my favorite ones. Thank you all for being here on Monday. I'm so glad you're here. Let me see what. Oh, next week, Daly and Vincent. The bluegrass sensation, Daly and Vincent, will be with me, and we're going to talk about bluegrass music and how that really bluegrass and Southern gospel music, which is what I've always been a part of, are really kissing cousins. You know, you've got some bluegrass gospel groups like the Lewis family, Jeff and Sherry Lewis and others. And also, I want to remind you, if you have not signed up for the cruise, go to marklowrycruise.com. And in March of 2019, and this is October, this is 2018. March of 2019, I'm doing my cruise. It's March 23rd through the 28th. And the Martins will be with me, Taranda Green, the Ball Brothers, Stan Whitmire. We're going to have a wonderful time. I'd love for you to join us. If you've never heard of the Martins, well, I tell you what, I'll just play you something of theirs. This past Sunday, my good buddy Jeff Bennett up at Second Baptist Church North invited me to come up. He said, the Martins are going to be at my church Sunday. So I went up, and he allowed me to sing with the choir. I did Standing on the Promises with the choir. It was amazing. They got a huge choir up there, that Second Baptist North. And Jeff is incredible. So I pulled out my iPhone, and of course I recorded one of my favorite Martin songs. Father, Son, Father, Son, and Holy Ghost. All people that on earth do dwell, sing to the Lord with cheerful voice. Him serve with mirth, His praise foretell. Come ye before Him and rejoice. Oh, enter His gates with joy, within His courts His praise proclaim. Let thankful songs your tongues in Oh, that was good, wasn't it? That was Sunday morning. This past Sunday morning. Wasn't that pretty, Susan? Yeah, Susan says that was beautiful. Janet Horn said that was wow. The one on the right is married to, that's right. The one on the right, oops, going too fast. The one on the right is married to Jake Hess' son. That's right. That's Judy, and she is married to Jake Hess' Jake Hess's son, and she has given birth to Jake Hess the third. He's now 21, and he's doing good. Michael Ave says that song is amazing for me. I love the Martins. I love the Martins too. They're really good. The Martins are good too, but the Martins, if you've not heard the Martins, amen, Raisa Pruitt. That was fantastic. Okay, we need to get to Guy. Okay, last week when I was at the Gaither Vocal Band reunion taping where I saw Larnell Harris, Michael English, David Phelps, Guy Penrod, Lee Young. I'm trying to go down. Wes Hampton. I knew I was going to leave somebody out. Let me think. Anyway, they were all there except you. And I cornered Guy and said, listen, I love the interviews I do when I do for my house live, like tonight, Monday night, October 29th. I'm live, right? So if I was going to have Guy on, I had to Skype in. Well, I said, I like it better when I can be in the room with him. So I set up my camera. We were on the Immaculate Contraption, and Guy and his sweet wife, Angie, and their son, oh gosh, I forget which one. I know I can see him. I just can't remember his name right now because I'm 60. And we had a great time. We had pizza, and then this happened. I was thinking today when we were all singing up there, and I looked over at you, and I thought back to the Liberty days. I was 4 years. I graduated in 80. You graduated 85. So I was 5 years ahead of you, but I was around during all that time. And I remember when you had short hair. You've never seen your daddy with short hair, have you?
I have not. It scared me.
Have you seen pictures?
I have seen pictures.
There's a couple.
Tell Mark about shaving.
Oh, he shaved his beard. It freaked everybody out.
They had never seen him without facial hair.
Summer, they wanted me to shave it, so I shaved it, and
We all
they
freaked
literally
out. We flipped
they
out.
looked at me like I was an alien. They didn't like me,
We've never seen his upper lip.
and they said, "Well, and it swelled."
All right, y'all
wasn't
gonna have to hold it
thinking-
down. You're not on camera.
I wasn't thinking.
Do what?
I said I wasn't thinking, but I hadn't shaved it in 30 years.
Oh my.
My mustache. So when I shaved it, it swelled up, and I looked like
Like you'd had
a
plastic
Who.
surgery?
I looked like a Who from the Dr. Seuss from that Jim Carrey Christmas movie.
Really? So
Scared.
I got online before you were coming up here, and I found a photo that I'm having Paula
Lord.
Johnson go through the archives at Liberty and get from me
Oh, no.
when you had short hair, because everybody had to have short hair. At
Oh
Liberty.
yeah, yeah.
That was in the Liberty
to hell if
rules.
you didn't.
They what?
You'd go to hell if you didn't.
No. You went from Liberty to, for those, like anybody who may not know, but this is Guy Penrod.
Oh,
And-
we're going.
Yeah, we're rolling already.
We're rolling.
Yeah, I just turned it on. And that way we can get this out of the way so we can eat. But
First things
so
first.
when I first saw you, you were Jerry's kid. You know, I mean, you really were. You had a very close relationship with him. You were in the Sounds of Liberty.
I was. I got a sad story about that.
Tell it.
Well, my dad pastored a church in New Mexico, Temple Baptist Church in Hobbs, New Mexico.
Oh,
We
these
call it
are-
Hobbs, America.
These are lazy boys too, if you
Oh,
want.
that's pretty cool.
On the side of it.
Well, anyway, he had Dr. Falwell in to speak for a special thing,
Yeah.
and he put me up there to sing in front of Dr. Falwell speaking. You know,
Yeah.
like any pastor would do his son. You've been done that way somewhere along.
Sure.
And so I sang a song. And Dr. Falwell, the first thing he said when he came to the pulpit was, "Young man, would you like to go to Liberty University?" And of course my dad was going.
Yes, he would.
And I said, well, looking at Dad, he was shaking his head. So I said, "Yes, sir." And he said, if you'll come to Liberty University, you'll be singing on the Sounds of Liberty, and I'll make sure it happens. Full scholarship for your whole time. So I went. Well, the Sounds had already gotten all their singers.
Oh, really?
Right. I mean, you know, the guy who was in charge,
Jerry
Dave
did.
Ranlett,
Yeah.
he didn't check with anybody.
He didn't check with
any of that.
anybody ever.
So I got there. I didn't know anybody in Lynchburg but Jerry Falwell. And I had his phone number. So I called their house. And my dad and mom took me on and dropped me off over there.
At their
With
house?
Dr. Falwell. Yeah.
No.
Yeah. And he drove me in his Suburban to the school
Jerry did?
and walked me into Dave Ranlett's office and said, Dave, here's your new member for Sounds of Liberty. And Dave didn't know anything about it. Now imagine the love those kids felt for me
Oh.
when I walked in there, and they're like, who is this skinny Q-tip headed boy?
Well, thank
coming
God
in
you
here?"
could sing.
And they were so nice to me.
Let me
though.
tell you something. Your voice
I
is,
loved it. I wouldn't trade a minute.
your voice has always been butter.
Oh.
It's been butter. I
Yours
mean,
is
it is
butter.
butter. And you can clock those high notes. So why did you grow the hair long?
Because this gorgeous lady who's off camera, thank goodness, because she's so pretty. I don't want to show her off too much.
Yeah.
She, my wife, said as it started to grow, that really looks good. I like that. And so I let it grow, and you know, like what Jeff Allen used to say, happy wife,
Happy life.
happy life.
And you've got 8 kids. Can you name them?
I can. Tyler, he's 26. Logan, he's in here. He's 24. Joe is 22. Jesse is 20. And Levi is 18. Grayson is 16. Zach is 14. And they're all taller than me, even my 14-year-old.
Who's the tallest?
Well, I have 3 of them, 6'7". Tyler, Joe, and Grayson, the 16-year-old. And then I think Zach might end up getting taller than all of them.
All right, if you line them
Lacey's
all up. Oh, the
tall.
baby, you haven't finished.
Yeah, Lacey. We finally got a girl.
Got it. And now, were you really
She's
going to just?
adorable.
Were you just going to keep going till you got the girl? And
Yeah, she
your
was.
beautiful wife. Come up, just stand up
You
here
need
for
to.
me. You won't get her in the
Sit
shot.
Sit on.
Sit
Come
on
on,
his
man.
lap.
Come over here.
Since I'm so tiny.
She looks like. Can you get in? She looks like you
can't
could
see
have
that
8
without
more.
I know, she
No,
might
I can't.
You're done.
Eight is enough.
Eight
Eight was enough.
8
No,
was
I
enough.
begged for the girl, got her at 8, and said, "Thank you, God, we're out."
Now, if you line them all up, which one, honestly, do you like the best? Come on, you
What
know
day?
you've got one.
I do like some better on. Oh well, Logan's here, so Logan.
Logan. How are they different? How are they? I mean,
I'll let
'cause
your lady-
you got 8 kids, and I've never had a kid, but I've had dogs, and I found out they have different personalities. Right? I didn't know dogs had different personalities till I got 3.
Yeah.
So, but which one's the outgoing one?
Well, Logan, our second born, is incredibly outgoing.
He always has been.
Yeah, he's the life of the party. Levi's a lot like him, our 5th son. Joe is third born. He's actually very outgoing too. He used to stand in the car before, or was there car seat laws, or were we just breaking the law? I can't remember. But we were going down the road in our big old excursion on a trip, and he was probably 2 years old. And maybe you were giving him a break out of the car seat or something, but standing there and holding him, and we called it preaching, because he'd be going, and he would have like this face on that was like all the preachers we knew growing up, you know. And he'd just look out the window and expound a minute in his 2-year-old language, and then he'd say, "Right, mommy?
Right, mommy?
Right, mommy?"
Oh, my
and then that'd be about it. And we
Did you
just-
ever get that on tape?
Oh, no, I don't
Oh,
think so.
did you not have camera?
We were
may
being
have.
lawbreakers enough, just letting him
stand up in the front seat. Well, we did.
Don't get us in trouble.
See, that you did it right.
I laid in the
I
back
think we got too many rules, seatbelt rules, helmet rules.
Yes.
Back in the day, they just had a lot of kids.
Yeah.
You lose one, you got 7 more. I mean, let them live and have fun. You know?
I slept in the back windshield of our car. Did you do that?
Oh, and the sun would
Yes.
bear down on you,
Mhm.
and you could snore. I bet they never got to do that.
No. Well, our
Right.
back windshields are too small now.
Well, that's
They
true.
make cars like little tiny things anymore.
So, how soon till they're gone?
Oh, that's a phase we're going through. It's wacky. because there's such hustle and bustle, and with 10 sitting down to eat,
Like a big dining room
yeah,
thing.
she cooks vats of food. But now our oldest is back over at Liberty working for the school in their video department. Logan got married in April of this year, and they live outside of Cleveland, Tennessee. And then Joe, my third born, got married in June to Caitlin from Wisconsin up north. And he moved up there for this little season, about 6 months, and then he's going to come back.
So you got 3
So we have
married?
5 at home.
You still have 5 at home?
5 at home, but they're, everyone's doing their own thing. We find ourselves at home a lot of times by ourselves,
Oh, really?
eating dinner. And
What's that like?
It's weird. It's weird.
I mean, that's a big ranch you got now.
Yeah.
How many rooms? How many bedrooms? You've got to have
we
5.
have 5. Yeah.
I mean, if you have 8 kids, you need it.
Yeah, it's fine.
So 5 are at home.
5
And how soon? I mean, what the youngest is how old?
12. Lacey's 12.
Okay, so in 5, 6, 7 years, it's going to be empty.
Yeah.
But you still look young.
Yeah.
I don't know if you feel young. Do you
We're
feel
going to
young?
have fun. Absolutely.
You're going to run around naked? No.
Well, why not?
David did, right?
Yeah.
Before the Lord,
That's
no.
right. That's right.
So, tell me about what you're doing on the road now. You're not in the vocal band, and neither am I. But isn't it fun to get back together?
Oh, it is. It's a
see
lot
everybody.
Of fun. Yes, and a team is fun. It's because you can play with one another,
Yeah.
joke, and you can be jovial. You can have serious moments. You can pass the parts around,
Right.
and
It's fun. I'm thrilled we're sitting next to each other.
I know.
I've loved you too ever since.
I'm a fan of Mark's, actually.
Well, dude,
I've been Mark's
here.
fan for so long. All y'all people out there,
Please.
this voice really is butter. It's glue. It's textured. I know. I produce records.
Thank you.
I'm a pro.
I can blend.
He is good.
I do know I can sing
You know how to
baritone
sing.
now.
You totally
I didn't
know.
think I could when I first joined the group. But I came first.
Buffalo.
Then Michael left. And then you came along and took the vocal band in a whole new direction as far as country. You gave it a country vibe, which was a lot of fun.
I love country music.
I know you do.
It's real earthy, and I like the honesty in the
lyrics are so
lyrics,
good.
yeah, and the people themselves. I mean, nobody has great days every day, but they don't. It's not overly put on. The country world,
Yeah.
the guys that I know,
Yeah.
if you got warts, they just hang out.
They talk about it.
They talk about it,
Which is what Christian music should be, right?
right. I like that. Honestly.
And you're doing that now. You're doing your own shows now, traveling full time. How many dates a year are you doing?
Between 60 and 70.
Perfect.
Yeah, that's about right.
Perfect. Now, are you ever traveling with him for the fun?
I
of it?
go on the fun stuff, yeah.
If it's fun.
Yeah.
Like this.
Dollywood, this.
Yeah.
Yeah. I go if it's a beach or a mountain.
Sure. So, and you got 3 guitars on stage, is it?
I got electric, acoustic, and they call him a utility man. He's so cool.
Well, what does
He
that
used to
mean?
play for Carrie Underwood for 10
Utility
years. He plays mandolin, banjo, flat top guitar, fiddle, dobro. He can play any of it.
What part of Kentucky is he
And
from?
you know where he's from? It's the craziest
Tell
thing.
me.
Wisconsin.
No.
He grew up on a dairy farm in Wisconsin.
Okay. Country. That's
Oh yeah, country through and through. And all the guys. In fact, I got northern.
Tell me about the guys. Who are these people?
Jonathan Wyndham is a local kid from this area. Actually, we're in Greenville for this video, and he's from just outside of here, in South Carolina. And he got on The Voice, and he made it almost to the very last, and then he didn't win it. But then they made a record on him, and then he made a record. At any rate, he moved to Nashville, and I picked him up through some mutual friends.
And he
He's been
plays-
a blessing. He plays guitar
And
sings background
sings.
vocals. Yeah. And then Jason Albrandt is a guy from Erie, Pennsylvania that we got going with us from our church. We go to Grace Church, Nashville, in Franklin.
I go to Grace Church on Bull, Texas. Same
Isn't that
thing.
crazy?
Grace is really taking over.
You know, I totally am there.
Don't you love Grace?
Yes, yes. Yes.
Okay, so did we mention all the guys?
And he's from Erie, Pennsylvania. A keyboard player, Tyler Smith, who's Michael W.'s boy.
Oh, okay.
He's been coming out playing keyboards with us for
What a nice
3
kid.
years. He's a great kid.
Yeah.
And another guy named Jay Newsom, who's been coming a good bit, that used to be in the Voices of Lee. And he's a fabulous piano player, singer. And then if we need, to be in bigger venues, we augment the band and bring drums and bass and all that stuff. But if we're in 1,000-seater, we don't.
Okay, I'm changing the subject because I
All right.
just thought of something. My
All right.
ADD just kicked in.
Here we go.
Do you remember the time we were on the bus and you and I were arguing about something religious, probably? And I said, and I was arguing with you, and I really agreed with you, but I was just taking the other side just because I didn't like your spirit. And you had those eyes going at me.
I did.
Do you remember what I said?
I don't.
I said, if I were your kid, and your blessing is also your curse, because your eyes are your gift. When you sing, and people look in those eyes, you believe it. I've never doubted that you believe. Number one, I know you. We've had too many great discussions about our faith, but also the eyes. And you have not only do you have a look that hasn't changed. That's why everyone always knows who you are. Very important for young artists to keep a look, I think. But number two, you got these eyes. And you were arguing me, and those eyes were piercing. And I thought, my God, if I were his child, this would slay me.
Oh, dear.
And I told you, I said, you be careful how you look at those kids.
Yeah.
You don't even remember this?
I remember that.
And I said,
That was a good
because your
conversation. That's good
eyes.
advice. Totally good advice.
Man, I mean, I'm not your kid. And
Ask one of my kids.
Tell the story of Lacey putting the picture of Mommy and Daddy on the fridge, and we both had about the same length hair.
Right.
But you could see Guy because he had major eyebrows,
Yeah.
black, big eyebrows.
So
where
what do
he
you
said,
think? Have I balanced that?
I've helped you with that. Because even when he's telling a
Is it
story in a
mean?
restaurant, I'm like,
I
people
don't
think
mean
you
to.
hate
No,
me
you
right now.
don't. But I would just say, you don't know
Sorry, I
how.
don't mean to be
Oh God, please don't take it that way.
No,
It was just a
it's-
fabulous conversation I thought that we had because I was noticing it while your eye, and he's shaking his head. But the thing is, it's your gift.
Oh.
All of our gifts are also our curses.
Yeah.
I run my
That's
mouth.
true.
But that's what I do now. What I used to get whipped for doing in church, I get paid to do now. Your blessing can be your curse.
Yeah, absolutely.
But you not only have a voice that communicates the gospel as well as anyone I've ever heard. And Dina, my best friend in the world, agrees you're her favorite singer.
Oh.
And you've got a heart that is as big as the state of Texas, really. I mean, I know I'm gushing here, but I mean this.
I'm liking it.
And you have softened. When you joined, you were
yeah.
hard.
Young,
I was
full
too.
of-
I was a little
I said
legalist.
bass and vinegar. Yeah.
Yeah, and Gloria just kept chipping away with grace.
She is a very good sculptor.
She is.
She is, and we heard another good word this morning. But no, it's so true. That's good honesty there, because when you're young and you start out and you think you know some things.
Oh boy, don't we?
Yeah. And
then life hits you upside the head.
yeah, there's a lot of different things and twists and turns and
Don't you think your kids have helped you?
Oh, absolutely.
Because you
Absolutely.
can really be against something real hard until one of your kids deals with it
Goes through.
or goes through it. Like when we were growing up, getting a divorce.
Oh yeah.
Oh my gosh, I remember them bringing them in front of the church and kicking people out of our church because they'd been divorced. But that's what they thought. That's what Paul said they thought.
Right.
And now so many people have been divorced, we have to let them in or we wouldn't have a crowd.
Well, that's true.
But the good news is, for everybody who's been divorced, that God has too. Jeremiah 3, God divorced Israel. Now he took them back at the end of the chapter.
Right.
But nevertheless, and he's the one who said it, not me.
Yeah.
He tagged himself as a divorcee. God divorced Israel. God couldn't pastor a Baptist church. Think about that.
That's funny.
No, what I love about the grace of God is it makes room at the table for everybody.
Right. grace, mercy, and patience. You know.
Is that what your kids have taught you?
Oh gosh, yes, lots of patience. and the concept of them having mercy for our, you know, I have some dear friends who have counseled with regard to children and such, acquaintances, books I've read, and yet they don't have very many, or they don't have any, some of them.
Don't have children?
Right, and yet will give you some good, advice. And
how do you look at them with those eyes when they do that?
Yeah.
I love your eyes.
So
You have the best eyes in the world, man. They tell everything you're thinking.
well, it's hard
Which
to
is
lie,
good.
that's for sure.
Okay, so
That's
go ahead.
great. Well, we are so, God is so in control, and He's so God, and we're so not, that I use this a lot in my own thought processes, but I say it too this way: how many of us had enough money, and I speak of Angie and I, to get married when we got married? And in all these years I've been doing this, I've had one person raise their hand, and she said, well, my husband and I, our parents were rather affluent, and we were trained to be accountants, and we were very responsible.
No, well, one out of how
So
many?
one out of thousands and thousands. And I use the same example with kids. How many of you had enough money and were prepared to have kids?
Wow.
And nobody is. We don't know how. They don't come with a manual.
No.
You're just going to screw up, and you're going to make mistakes. And if they weren't so resilient, you'd run and jump off a cliff somewhere because you just messed them up so bad. But they're resilient.
Yeah.
And the thing that I say to those that hope for the thing that the Lord put in the Word with regard to our marriages is that just because we are riddled with divorce, we're riddled with our humanity, and it gets the best of us a lot of times, it doesn't change the standard that the Lord set.
Right.
And He said it works best if you just stay.
Well, I would think so.
Screw up, but just stay.
But all the history you would lose if you started
I know,
over.
just
Think
hurt.
about the history. And then you got to have two separate Thanksgivings and two separate Christmases and
Yeah.
more in-laws and outlaws. My gosh, stick it out.
I know. And I'm just thankful that all of them have
I am too.
been kind and hung with me all these years. My kids can't really go anywhere, but
They
my
gotta
sweet wife
eat.
has chosen not to.
As long as y'all feed them, they'll probably keep
They
staying.
keep showing up Frosted Flakes and Cocoa Pebbles.
How many eggs a morning
Oh, Lord.
when they were all in the house?
Babe?
Well, it wasn't enough if it were
24.
2 dozen. When they were all eating,
2 dozen.
Every breakfast. 2.5.
More than 2?
Yeah, it was.
We're winding down with only 5 at home.
Yeah. Are you learning how to adapt?
It's kind of hard, yeah, but I am. Yeah.
All right, y'all. Well, thank you, God Penrod. I love you. Oh, wait, before we go, please sing a little something. Acapella. Acapella. Yeah, because we always do this. If there's anything the Lord lays on your heart, and put it in a key that's comfortable. You don't have to hit any high notes.
There is a fountain filled with blood, drawn from Emmanuel's veins, and sinners plunged beneath that flood lose all their guilty stains, lose all their guilty stains, lose all their guilty stains, and sinners plunged beneath that flood lose all their guilty stains.
You couldn't have picked a better song.
Isn't that a
Jesus.
I identify with that one a lot.
Oh,
Yeah.
yeah. Isn't Jesus the best? You know, out of all the religions there were, I chose that one. I checked them all out. I said, I want to choose that one because he did all the work.
You know what? I want to hear you talk
All the
about
others you had to
sometime.
work.
Think about this
What?
and study it a little.
What?
Because I know you have time. And then I want to talk about it.
All right.
The concept, and I won't use names because I don't want to give you a preconceived notion. I just want
Okay.
you to search this out, but led by the Spirit in your way you're made. So I've heard it preached one way, this way, and this way, and I'm falling for this way.
Okay.
If you're gonna preach the blessings out of the Old Testament, you have to preach the curses as well.
Oh, what are those?
Well, there are a whole bunch of them.
Oh, really?
Yeah, all
God
of
cursed
Deuteronomy
people?
and everything. There's all kinds of curses.
Oh.
And then I've also heard, well, Jesus, and I believe in this, obviously, Jesus became a curse for us. For it is written, cursed is he who hung on the tree, Hebrews 6, I believe. He became the curse for us and bought us all the blessings.
Right.
So we actually get all of it and none of the bad.
Okay.
All of the good, none of the bad.
I like that
And
one.
how that applies. How do we live that out? Marrying the Old Testament, because we study it and it's part of the Bible.
Right.
But it's always a conundrum, a bit.
How they go together?
Right, and because of the theology that has messed up the way we are to view the law. The law points out sin, but it doesn't save you.
No. It's a babysitter.
Exactly.
Till Jesus could show up.
And then he showed up, fulfilled it. Right.
Yeah.
So just think it through a little bit, and talk to me at some
What are
point.
we thinking through?
The blessings and curses,
I gotta go
and
just
how that we
another
get
word
all the
curses.
blessings.
It's
and none of the
Deuteronomy
curses.
28 when he says the Abrahamic blessing. It's Deuteronomy 28. All the blessings and then the curses. If
Oh, I
you
gotta
do
go
it.
Well,
read the
and
curses.
all
I don't know
of the
about that.
pre-qualifications.
See, I
Let me
stay
not
out of
just say
I don't like
curses.
Deuteronomy much. I've got to get somebody to teach me a little, because I stay out of those scary books about this, that, and the other, and law, and I just jump over in Jesus. I love Matthew. I just can't hardly get out of Matthew, and I know I should, but I am reading a book by Richard Rohr about to understand the Bible, go from Genesis to Revelation, how they all go together, and I think that is a book you would need.
Yeah, I need
I
to
just
read that.
started it.
Who is it?
Literally.
What more?
Richard Rohr.
A roar.
Rohr. Gloria turned me on to him
Yeah, I've
years
heard of
ago.
him.
All right, let me talk to
I'm
you.
interested
This
in it.
will help you, I think, if I understand the question. And the question is, how do you?
Well, let me put a little bit more to it. All of the pre-qualifications for blessing.
If my people, which are called by my name, shall humble themselves and pray.
And then in the New Testament, these perceived qualifications. If you'll do this and that and this and that, then I'll bless you.
Okay.
But
Yeah,
don't
that sounds
ask
like
me
works,
for any
doesn't it?
blessing unless you do. You got to do in order to get.
Well, yeah. But
Just think through
salvation, though, is all God.
It's all Him.
Our part in salvation, I've heard it said, and I've repeated many times, is yes and thanks. We agree with God, really, that we were worth it. I mean, because I contend that the pot doesn't get to tell the potter what the pot's worth. The potter has told the pot what the pot's worth, and the pot doesn't get a vote. God thought you were worth dying for, and how rude not to agree with him.
Absolutely.
So I have it changed my whole way of thinking, that when I look in the mirror now, I really have tell myself, there's the image of God. Doesn't matter if I don't like the image, or if I wish my nose came to a point. This is the way He wanted me to be and look, and everything about me, right?
Right.
And so it helps to agree with him that, man, the created doesn't get to tell the creator, you didn't do a good job when you made me.
That's right.
That is very rude.
Yeah.
And like you say in concert, it's enough about you people, because there's such a, when
Yeah,
you say that he died.
I really do. There's such a war. There's been such a war, at least in my sphere, that I've traveled in, and against man, I think waged by the enemy, to just keep you in the dark as to who you are, and what you are, and how much you're worth,
Yes.
and what authority you have, what are your rights.
Authority, yeah,
He doesn't
walking
want
on
us to know our
authority.
rights.
That's a big thing.
He wants to keep us feeling
Come over here and sit right here.
goofy.
So you can be in this. It'll get you.
I didn't know you
Yeah,
were still.
yeah. Well, I mean, I'm rolling. I don't have to use any of this, but I will. Trust me. This is good conversation. But if you sit right there, I can get you in this shot because you have as much say as all of us.
She does. She's
Okay,
smart.
so anyway, yes, I agree with that. And Richard Rohr also. Ooh, our food's here. And that was the end of the conversation. Our food arrived. Hey, I probably should have edited that better. I just realized I edited it where it ended after the song, but then the conversation kept going. So I don't really know what guy was asking me. Do y'all? I think there are curses in the Old Testament that if you don't do, but see, I don't believe that we're under any kind of curse. I believe Jesus has broken all the curse. The law has been fulfilled. We are in the day of grace where God looks at us and his heart skips a beat because he sees us through the blood of the Lord Jesus. We are delivered. We're clean. We're his kid. And he knows that we have a tough time here on earth. And it's tough. He was here too, you know. Jesus walked amongst us, so he knows how tough it can be. But maybe what you're going through tonight is so that the glory of God can be revealed in you. Maybe. I don't know. Next week, I'll see you, though, on Monday night with Daly and Vincent. What a wonderful, wonderful show that'll be. I love them. They're bluegrass, and they love the Lord, too. But they're in the bluegrass world, which, you know, you love the Lord and be any kind of world. You can be a plumber, doctor, lawyer, rock and roll singer, preacher. Anybody can love the Lord. And what's not to love? You know? So next week, I'll see you. I love you guys. Thank you for tuning in. Thank you, Guy Penrod. Thank you, Martins. Thank you all for being my friends and allowing me to share you with my YouTube family. Good night.